More than 400 miles from South America, a group of islands sits alone in the South Atlantic. White beaches stretch beneath endless skies, wild horses move across open land, and penguins gather by the thousands along the coast. This is the Falkland Islands. Beyond the shoreline, green hills roll beneath a sky that seems almost too wide, while small roads disappear into the empty countryside. Far away, rocky islands rise from the sea, surrounded by waves, wind, and some of the richest wildlife in the South Atlantic. It feels distant, almost untouched. But somewhere beyond these quiet horizons is a small human world waiting to be discovered. This is life at the edge of the world. To understand the Falkland Islands, the journey has to begin with the place itself. Two main islands stretch across the South Atlantic, surrounded by hundreds of smaller islands. Most people live around Stanley, while the wide countryside beyond the town is known as Camp. Here, the land feels vast and open. Rolling green hills, rocky stone runs, and empty roads stretch toward the sea, with the South Atlantic wind always moving across the landscape. The islands cover more than 4,700 square miles, yet fewer than 4,000 people live here. Then Stanley appears. Red telephone boxes, British flags, and small pubs stand beside the harbor, creating a strange but beautiful contrast with the wild landscape beyond the town. This is a remote place, but it already feels like home to the people who live here. Walk through Stanley, and the people quickly become part of the journey. The islanders are often called kelpers, a name linked to the sea kelp surrounding the islands. Many families trace their roots through generations of settlers, sailors, and sheep farmers. Life this remote has created a strong sense of trust and quiet independence. Neighbors stop along the road to talk, help with practical work, and look after one another when the weather turns difficult. The memory of 1982 remains an important part of local identity and pride in self-government. At the same time, people from more than 60 nationalities now live and work here. A tiny population with a surprisingly diverse community. And beyond these people lies another side of Falkland life, the wildlife that fills its shores, cliffs, and open land. Along the Falkland coast, nature feels completely untamed. Open beaches, rocky cliffs, and wide grasslands provide safe places for wildlife to live and breed. Walk along a quiet beach, and penguins may come surprisingly close, moving freely across the sand. There are no cages, no fences, just people and wildlife sharing the same open space. 5 penguin species nest here, including king, gentoo, and rockhopper penguins. Above them, black-browed albatrosses fill the skies, with more than 70% of the world's population found across the islands. Along the beaches, elephant seals rest in large groups, while protected tussock grass provides shelter for nesting birds. Wildlife is not separate from daily life. It is part of the landscape itself. Here, nature does not simply surround the islands, it defines them. And after seeing what thrives along these shores, Falkland life moves naturally toward another essential part of the day: food. At the table, food is warm, simple, and deeply connected to island life. Farm kitchens fill with the smell of fresh bread, berry tarts, and tea during smoko, the much-loved mid-morning break shared by workers and families. Lamb is the main staple, raised on the open grasslands. From the coast come toothfish, sea trout, and squid, caught in the cold waters of the South Atlantic. Fresh vegetables are harder to grow outdoors because of the thin soil and strong winds. So many families use polytunnels to grow tomatoes, lettuce, and berries in a warmer space. A warm kitchen, a shared meal, and a cup of tea can bring people together after a long day. But feeding the islands is only one part of the challenge. Across the Falklands, work has always followed the land and sea. For more than a century, sheep farming drove the local economy, with wool from the open pastures shipped around the world. During shearing season, farms become busy places. Workers spend long days in large sheds, keeping a tradition that has shaped island life for generations. Then, in the late 1980s, the islands created a controlled commercial fishing zone. Squid licenses brought a major new source of income and helped turn the Falklands into one of the world's more prosperous remote economies. Instead of focusing on flashy development, the new wealth was directed toward financial reserves and modern infrastructure. The economy grew, but living this far from major factories and supply centers comes with a very different challenge. In the Falklands, cost is closely tied to distance. Almost everything sold in Stanley has traveled thousands of miles by sea or air. Building materials, vehicles, milk, fruit, and everyday household goods all depend on long supply routes. At the supermarket, planning matters. A rough stretch of weather can delay a supply ship, and suddenly, fresh produce becomes harder to find. Imported food can cost far more than the same items in London. While heating homes through the colder months also adds to household expenses. Yet local wages are relatively strong, and many workers benefit from the absence of a local income tax. So island life is not cheap, but people here value more than what money can buy. The next challenge is getting those goods from Stanley to families scattered across the vast countryside. Across the Falklands, connection depends on roads, aircraft, and the weather. A paved road links Stanley with Mount Pleasant, but beyond that, most routes become rough gravel tracks crossing the open camp. For islanders, a 4x4 is almost essential. Then there is Figas, the small government air service that links remote farms and settlements. Its red and white aircraft land on short grass runways, carrying people, mail, and medicine. There is no fixed daily route. Each morning, flights are planned around passenger bookings and the weather, with pilots watching the skies before heading toward remote airstrips. A trip across the islands can take a little planning, but for children growing up here, this unusual world becomes completely normal. For children in the Falklands, childhood comes with a rare kind of freedom. Small community schools in Stanley provide modern education, while traveling teachers reach children living on remote farms. After school, the landscape becomes the playground. Children build forts in the hills, explore open fields, and spend time around the piers without constant supervision. The whole community knows them, and when higher education begins, another chapter opens. Because there is no university on the islands, the government covers tuition and living costs for students studying in Britain. London and Manchester can feel like another world. Yet many young islanders eventually return, bringing new skills into government, farming, and marine science. They leave to see the world. Then many come home to the place that raised them. But coming home also means facing the difficult side of island life. Beyond the quiet streets, challenges arrive with the weather. Cold Antarctic air can meet ocean currents and bring strong winds, heavy fog, and sudden storms within minutes. When winter weather closes in, flights can be cancelled, ferries can be cancelled, and families may have to rely on supplies already at home. Winds can reach more than 60 miles per hour, pushing against buildings and bending fences across the open land. Medical care also has limits. Specialist treatment may require an emergency flight to a destination thousands of miles away. Yet these difficult conditions create something powerful. When a storm arrives, neighbors check on older residents, share generators, and help one another through the isolation. The weather can separate the islands from the world, but it brings the people closer together. And that connection may explain why so many choose to stay. In the Falklands, belonging is part of everyday life. Life moves at a slower pace here, far from the noise and rush of large cities. In Stanley, a walk down the street rarely feels anonymous. People know their neighbors, families stay connected, and even small daily moments can become shared experiences. The land matters too. The smell of the ocean, the open moors, and the constant sound of the wind become familiar parts of home. The islands have very low crime and no homelessness, while immigration is carefully managed as the community grows. For many residents, isolation is not a prison. It is a shield, a distance that protects the quiet, trust, and close relationships that make this place feel like home. As the sun sinks over the South Atlantic, the Falkland Islands become almost completely still. The wide moors darken, sheep gather near stone walls, and waves continue rolling against beaches where penguins move freely along the shore. From Stanley to the far reaches of camp, this journey has revealed a place built on self-reliance, nature, and strong community ties. A small population has created a modern life thousands of miles from the world's major cities. Here, security is not only about money or modern services. It is knowing the neighbor down the road will help when the weather turns, and knowing that home is somewhere people genuinely want to return to. So, could this quiet island life replace the noise of a crowded city? Tell us in the comments and subscribe for the next journey to the world's hidden corners.